I can't hear for some reason.
I haven't changed anything. Let's see.
I can hear you. I can hear you now. I can hear you
Can
now.
you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. That's really weird.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that was about.
Okay.
Strange. Okay. Well,
Right.
I don't know. I do not know. Okay. So I was going through all of my devices, like what's happening? What I was trying to see if I could
Right.
hear myself on the actual because I'm. Hello, everybody. I'm
Yes.
I'm streaming to Facebook, so I was actually checking to see like, can I hear myself on Facebook? I was just doing my
Yeah.
audio testing, but so yeah, so it is Father's Week, and we are either talking to you on Saturday or we're talking to you on Wednesday, I think, depending on where you're
Either
watching
way.
or listening. We're wrapping up. This is our episode 3, so season 3, episode 40. Oh my goodness, let's start from the beginning. So I'm going to be the idiot in the room today who cannot
No.
speak and doesn't have any idea what's going on in my TV. I think I really think on my house, something is going on where I have
It's
poltergeist in my
haunted.
house.
It might be haunted.
I don't know. I think maybe I hit my TV and my TV tried to take my sound and send it over
Oh,
there. I don't know.
makes sense. Yep.
Everything's all interconnected. So anyway, it is Father's Week. So Lilac and I are here today. As you could see down here, the two of us are just we got a deck of cards and we're playing some
It's a
poker.
full house. It's a full house.
It is a full house. It's me, it's Lilac, and then it's all of you. Lilac, how are you? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I had a great weekend so far. Yesterday
That's
was
good.
Juneteenth. Yesterday was Juneteenth,
Yes.
so I'm feeling extra free. It was good. It was nice.
Juneteenth weekend, Father's Day weekend, like a bunch of stuff is
Yes.
going on. And we're here for it, right? We're here for it.
Yes. Yes.
So I just wanted to quickly thank WDJY because they have us on. It'll be Wednesday 9 to 10 p.m. or Thursday 5 to 6 p.m. or Friday 10 to 11 a.m. or Sunday 2 3 p.m. So we're all over WDJY. We got to thank them for that. And then
Pick your
also we
day.
got to thank Mace Fitness and Soul Specters Institute. I said it right this time.
Yes, you got it.
It was a weird tongue twister for me. I don't know what, or maybe I'm just stroking out. You know, I'm at that point in my life.
What happened?
Or quickly, I did stroke out last week trying to say it. But anyway, they're sponsoring us for our show today, so we gotta thank our sponsors because that's the coolest thing ever. And yeah, so what I'm gonna do is just hand it over to you, Lilac. You have some information for us. You want to tell us about some sitcom dads?
Yes, I was doing the 90s sitcoms dad. I want to shout out Mikey D. He on his episode, he did sitcom dads from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. So I thought that was awesome.
Oh, cool.
I loved the 90s sitcoms dad. So
Right.
I have some people right here pictured. Philip Banks, he was on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which ran from 1990 to 1996. We affectionately know him as Uncle Phil, right? He was
the best, and
he was the best.
He was a classically trained actor, by the way.
Classically trained, super poised, but on the show, you know, he was really strict, and I really believe he knew that Will could be the best because that's where he came from. He was like the rags to riches story. He wasn't always rich. He wasn't always living in Bel-Air. He came from where, you know, Will came from, if not the same place, the same surroundings, and he made it. So he's always super strict, but also loving when he needed to be. So that's our beloved Uncle Phil. He was played by James Avery, who's awesome. So yes. And
may he rest in peace, by the way.
May he rest in peace, as my phone is about to rest in peace.
Oh no.
Yes, hold on. Sorry.
This is not a technical day for us, I don't think.
It is not. I don't know what's going on with Father's Week or fathers. You know, there's a lot of things we need handy fathers available. So then we have Dan Connor. who was on Roseanne, and that ran from 1988 to 1997. He was super loving, super laid back. He had a temper, and he had a temper when needed. One of my favorite episodes actually was when Roseanne's sister, I think she was getting abused.
Jackie.
Oh, ooh, Jackie. Yeah, that was a good one. Like, he was always really laid back, but if he needed to lean forward, he did, and he did it well. He always protected people. Just have a few more. Danny Tanner. He's played by Bob Saget. He was on Full House. That show ran from 1987 to 1995. He was a single father, but he enlisted the help of his brother and best friend to help him raise his 3 girls. And he was like a neat freak. He was always cleaning. Everything always had to be super clean.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a doozy. One of my favorites is Frank Costanza from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And Seinfeld ran from 1989 to 1997. He's the best. He was loud, he was opinionated, and he was played by Ben Stiller's daddy.
Yes, Jerry Stiller.
Jerry Stiller. Hello. Exactly. He created Festivus. He always had loud interactions with people. He was so opinionated and fiery, quick-tempered, always doing outbursts. Such a fun dad.
There's,
the beloved.
I just wanted to stop and say there are some outtakes of him and Julie Louis-Dreyfus trying to get to a scene, and like they had to retake a lot of stuff with Jerry Stiller like 80 million times because they couldn't get through it without laughing just because of the way he would say stuff. Anyway,
I don't know how they got through it in general. I mean,
I really don't.
Just the set, like all those comedians mixed together. You know what I mean? Kramer busting in the door. Like, I don't know how they did it. So I commend all of them for even making it through for so long. Next was Carl Winslow, who was played by Reginald Vell Johnson. Yep. He was on, of course, Family Matters, which ran from 1989 to 1998. Super hard worker, provider. He was always there to listen to his children and his obnoxious neighbor when Urkel came by.
Right.
He was always so annoyed by him. But he was there. He was a good dad, hard worker, a police officer. And then just a couple more. Alan Matthews. This is on one of my favorite shows. He was on Boy Meets World, which ran from it ran from 1993 to 2000. I always remembered he was super wise, very patient, and he always had like those teachable moments. Like, when they played, that 1990s music, like when something serious was going on, they were always, they were always playing that with him. And he always had like, something very wise to say. So love him. He was played by an actor called William Russ. Last but certainly not least, we have Floyd Henderson. He was on one of my favorite shows. It's called Smart Guy. It's called, it was called Smart Guy. And the actor is John Marshall Jones. And that show ran from 1997 to 1999. He was also a single father, but he always held his children very accountable. If people aren't familiar with Smart Guy, it was a show. It was on. Was it on Disney? I think it was on Disney. Yeah, and it was Taj Mari, who was Tia and Tamara's brother. He was on that show. So he was always holding his children very accountable. And he always was teaching them lessons. Smart Guy was let me see. I'm just trying to remember. He was a little boy. Taj Mari was a little child, and he was a genius. So he was in high school with his older brother. And so that caused tension, and it was just navigating how to raise a boy genius. So it was good. But those are the 90s sitcoms dads that I have. So many more, but those are the ones who really stick out.
There's so many. And in the 90s was like I was talking to somebody about this. If I had a time machine and I could go back to the early 90s, I would do it tomorrow. It was such a vibe. It was such a time. There's nothing. I think we peaked in the 90s as a community. That's what I think.
We peaked in general. Music, clothes, TV. Yeah. We peaked. And I was gonna say too, what I did notice is the 90s dad represented the shift, like from the dad who maybe wasn't as attentive, like dads of the 70s, 80s, you know what I mean? Like dads really weren't as attentive. Well, I won't say all dads, right? But a lot of dads weren't as attentive. They were just known as the breadwinners. They worked all the time. they didn't really get into their children's business. But the 90s dads, they did a shift and they showed the shift. Like we can care for our children, we can be involved with them, we can give advice and
but
all
we can
that.
also
So
be strict, and we can also put down some rules
yeah,
and regulations and
it
keep
was a
guidelines in the
balance,
house. Yeah, definitely.
perfect
And
balance.
pay attention to
Yeah,
our wives, or the mothers in the house, and that kind
thank
of stuff.
you.
Yeah,
They showed the
definitely.
shift for sure. That's what I was
That
seeing.
Hey, listen, men are capable of so much more, right? So
Yes.
it's good to have a nice view of them in different shows that we watch. But anyway,
Yeah.
well, that's awesome. What I'm gonna do from here is just quickly, um, we're gonna go to our sponsor. We're gonna go to our.
All right.
Actually, we're not gonna go to our sponsor. We're gonna go to our social media and let you know who our social media platforms
Yes.
are. So right here, go ahead.
Watch us live at YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch at Rhode Island Broadcasting, X and Twitter at Broadcasting RI, Facebook at Going On Daily Morning Show. Listen to us on all of our audio platforms such as Spotify, Red Circle, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music at RI Broadcasting. You can also follow us on all of our socials at MeWe, TikTok, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Gab, Parler, and Space Hey at RI Broadcasting, and Reddit at RI-Broadcasting, and support the show on Rhode-IslandBroadcasting.net. We thank you for listening, following, and watching.
All right. And while you are on our website, which is Rhode-IslandBroadcasting.net, you want to check out our Hall of Fame, right? So
Yes.
click this QR code right here to vote for the Hall of Fame right now underneath me. These are the sitcoms of the 70s. And they're, like I said, I think I've said this before, but they're African-American sitcoms, but they're some of the best sitcoms that have been out there. They're very classic. And if you can pick one out of these 5, I don't know what to tell you, because honestly, they're all so good.
It's difficult. Good Times is my favorite. I'll always say that. I'll always advocate for Good Times.
Right.
But the Jeffersons, a lot of them are really, really, really good. So it's going to be hard.
Exactly. And I mean, Jefferson's really, for me, I think is probably my top, and I think Good Times is kind of my second.
Yeah.
But I watched them all. I don't know, and I watched them all when they were actually on. So right now, the Good Times, the Good Times is up ahead, and the Jeffersons is behind that, which I think was kind of how it's been. So if you want anything on this list to change, if you want any of these shows to come out ahead, then you got to hit that QR code and go and vote.
Vote.
Exactly.
The margin isn't as big as it was for the movies. I feel like Back to the Future took a great lead, and no one can really catch up. But the margin isn't as big, so it's not too bad.
I'm hoping that everybody's voting across maybe that's why, because everybody's voting across the board more. So it's coming out at a different percentage. But from what we're seeing here, we are at record voting right now. So that's pretty cool. So get in there, vote, make sure your show comes out on top. And
yes.
So I'm just going to run through I just was like, did we do music this week? So I just wanted to bring up some father songs, some songs about fathers, and I don't have that many, but I just wanted to, there's a ton of them, by the way. These are just like kind of my top 10, and they're not in any order, by the way. I just kind of have them listed. You can decide what's better, what's not, you know what I mean? You can add if you want to comment and let us know what song I'm missing or what song you think should be in this list.
Okay.
But we'll start with the 80s and Madonna, Papa Don't Preach. And that's one of my favorite tunes because Danny Aiello was in the video. I mean, if you ever get to check that video out, Madonna's wearing a very interesting strapless bustier, which I can't believe she didn't fall out of, but she must have been taped in there really good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
good.
Yes, but it's a very good I believe maybe I'm thinking of another video she had a couple of them at the time. But anyway, Danny Aiello was really cool to have in your video in the 80s. And that was, for me, something that I'll always remember. So Papa Don't Preach is one of them. Eric Clapton, My Father's Eyes. That's obviously everybody goes through, their life and they think about what is important and what isn't. I mean, Eric Clapton specifically has gone through some serious tragedy. And so I think when he lost his son, I think it really made him think of his dad. And so he did a little bit of songwriting around that. But My Father's Eyes is a really good. I think it's more or less like, how did he see his children, and then how does his dad see him growing up? You really make that connection as you get older and you have your own children and you have your own family, right?
And especially when someone passes, you always see your own mortality. You always evaluate all your relationships, especially if you're a parent. It makes sense.
It definitely does. So that's a good tune. This is a song that I grew up to. My mom sang to me all the time because of my dad. The Temptations, Papa Was a Rolling Stone, was a big one.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. I think this is a weird tune for me, only because it starts with like, I think almost like an over the minute intro with no vocals. That song starts and rolls for a while before they start talking. It's classic. But yeah, you at some point you're like, are there any words in this song? Before it kicks in. It's a really long intro, but I love it. And very classic. And Cats in the Cradle, which is a definite it's definitely a song about being a kid, growing up, and then having your own kids, and then going, oh, I get it now. Like that's Harry Chapin, and during this kind of the folk era of the 70s, that song came out, and it's actually a really good tune. And a lot of people, if you get a chance to listen to it, if you haven't heard it, you may be under a rock. I'm not sure, because it's a pretty classic tune, but I still love it, and I still love listening to it because it is really the circle of life in that tune, and it's done really well. Billy Ray Cyrus and Miley Cyrus got together and did a song called I Learned From You.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty cool tune. And so I thought I would bring that up if you get a chance. I mean, with everything going on and Miley coming back to her Hannah Montana thing recently, check that out. Luther Vandross did a song called Dance With My Father, which is
that's what I was thinking of. Oh, yeah, it always makes me cry every time.
It is really it's really a kind of an emotional tune. It's a slow song, but it's really good. So that's I don't know. It's just a really good song about honoring your dad and just loving your dad and being your dad's kid and all that fun stuff.
Yes.
Reba McEntire sang a song called "The Greatest Man I Never Knew." I'm sure you guys can understand what that was about. But country music is country music, and so Reba always sings kind of the truth about sometimes people don't know their dads, and sometimes things are not the way you think they should be. One of my favorite songs too is James Brown. Papa Don't Take No Mess is a really good song by James Brown. Yeah, James Brown, all of his stuff is great. I don't know what to say. Half the songs that he sang are sampled in just about every song I grew up listening to. But that's a really good tune. And then this started with Bill Withers, but then ended up being a Will Smith tune. It's called Just the Two of Us.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty cool thing that he did at one point when he finally had his son, and that was his little tribute to his kid. But technically, hopefully his son also sees it as a good. Yeah, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag is also a good tune.
It is.
I don't know that it's about fathers, so I wasn't sure if I should use it in the sense of.
I don't think so, but
kind of a little more of a relationship tune, so I didn't add that specifically because, but yeah, Just the Two of Us. Tupac has a song called Papa's Song. Now that's a really good song, and he's also got a song called, is it To Mama, or I forget what it was, but he also does a song about his mom. But
Dear
Papa's
Mama.
Song, Dear Mama, that's what it is. So he's got both parents covered there. But Papa's Song, if you get a chance to listen to it, if you're a Tupac fan, you probably already know it. And then Kenny Chesney has a song called There Goes My Life, and that's the same kind of thing, where it's a father-son deal, or his father-child deal. So Chesney fan, you probably know that song. But I had a couple of runner-ups, fathers to children songs. We had John Mayer, Daughters, and of course John Mayer of all people should be the last person to sing that song, but I won't get into that right now. But anyway,
a beautiful song nonetheless.
It was it was very ironic, but it was a good song. Eric Clapton, I mentioned earlier, he did a song called Tears in Heaven, and that was specifically about his son dying. It was about losing his child. And then one of my songs that I loved growing up was the Natalie Cole, Nat King Cole,
Oh
where she
goodness.
tribute to her father with a song
Oh,
called Unforgettable that she redid, where she actually kind of mirrored his lyrics in a tune.
beautiful.
That I don't know if a lot of people remember that. That was really big for
Mhm.
me at the time, and it's maybe I feel like it's a lost tune kind of sometimes.
It,
But
it
anyway,
is. It's a lost tune, but she was so innovative. I mean, it's like,
right?
using technology in that way for that time. Her dad was like right there
Yes,
on video and she was singing. That's also another tearjerker. I mean, the song's beautiful, but just that tribute to him,
right,
gorgeous, gorgeous,
right. So
gorgeous.
I don't know that the song at the beginning was actually about family, but she
Yeah,
made it into a family tune by doing that. So
for sure,
um,
for sure, for
so
sure.
yeah, if there's anything that you
Yeah.
haven't, that I didn't mention or that you think it should be in that list, or you have anything to say about anything that I mentioned, feel free to leave us a comment on that. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go and pay some bills. We're going to get our sponsors in here. We're going to listen to some ads from Mace Fitness and Soul Spectus. Be right back.
There we go.
Looking for a fitness app that actually fits in your life, not the other way around? The Mace Fitness app is your personal fitness coach in your pocket. That's MASE. Mace Fitness app makes fitness simple and affordable. The build your own workout option allows you to choose the exercises, the focus area, and the pace that works best for you. This app feature is only $9 a month. You'll get over 630 guided exercise videos, build your own workout tools, strength, mobility, balance, and flexibility training, easy to follow instructions, fitness anytime, anywhere. Mace Fitness, just $9 a month.
Sometimes you can feel lost in the forest of your mind, caught up in mistakes you can't change, looking ahead, uncertain what comes next, questioning if things will ever get easier, and if you've missed your chance. But the fact is that every moment is a new chance to change and choose a new direction. The fastest way to stop the pain and gain the new insight needed is through guidance from someone who has walked the path before you that can teach you to find your own answers from within. If any of this sounds familiar and you're looking for a way through from where you are to where you long to be, then let's connect. Check out soulspectiveinstitute.com today and book your discovery call, and we can see where we can go from there.
All right. So those are
Oh,
our
yeah.
sponsors. And like I always say, take care of yourself outside and inside, right?
Outside and inside. That's the best thing. The first time you said that, I'm like, it just stuck. Outside, you want to work on it. You want to get fit. You want to look nice. Also,
Yes.
inwardly, your mental health is just as important. So that's perfect.
Exactly. And that's like a full, well-rounded you. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. Correct.
So that's the way to do it. But yeah, you're gonna let us know. We've called a segment called "Be the Light," Lilac. So let us know. Yeah.
Yes. So it's perfect. We're just segueing from that inward, outward. I had seen a bunch of times on social media, like people finding someone in a grocery store and like giving them thousands of dollars. Have you seen those videos?
Yes. I have to stop for a
So
minute and just say hi to Danny because Danny's here.
yes,
So we wanna
hi
say hi
Danny.
to him.
We've seen you post a couple
We're
times. Hi
so
Danny.
into it that we need to look at our comments here. So we're gonna do it.
Exactly. Hey
Yeah.
Danny. Hey everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Definitely.
So I was seeing all of these different posts, and it's like people just doing these beautiful, nice things, and I'm like, okay, even if you can't give $1,000 to someone or even $100 to someone, can you be the light wherever you go, wherever you walk into a room? Can you shift the atmosphere? You know what I mean? There's so much going on politically, economically, everything's happening. Gas is high
right.
and groceries
Yeah.
are high. Everything's going on. But like, where can we be the light? I feel like it's really good for us to look for spaces where we can be the light, where we can make someone smile, change someone's day. And I feel like if we all do that, then we'll all be the light for someone.
Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't
that be nice? And it's not unattainable. We can do it. It might sound like fairy tale-ish or whimsical, but it's like,
no, I don't think it does at all. I don't think it does at all. I think it sounds totally doable. I do. Everybody can make one person happy or smile, or just one thing every day is not hard, right?
It's not hard. And if we all do it, and if we all do our part, then we'll see a whole different change. I love watching those videos. They bring tears to my eyes. Someone just going in, and they always say, oh my gosh, I was just praying. I was just thinking. I was just saying, how am I going to make it? I didn't even want to come into this store, and here I am. And so if we can do that, not that action, maybe everyone doesn't have it to do that, right? I think that
Right.
we can be the light for people, and we'll all be a little brighter, inside. That's why I want to say
Right.
that internal, that external. So
Right.
that's my be the light.
Well, that's pretty cool. But some examples of that are just I see for some reason a lot of videos come up with someone who's like down on their luck, homeless, and there's
Yes.
someone who, that's of course I'm not sure. I guess sometimes I kind of get a little like, oh, if that was me, would I want somebody to film me? But then also somebody that's like, listen, there's a guy right now that's coming up my feed that's like, hey, walking around asking people, hey, you want to come into my house? You want to take a shower? You need clothes?
Yeah.
Do you need a
Oh,
meal? My girlfriend and I are cooking a meal, whatever. And it's a little sad because you see these people that are very, very skeptical of it with good reason. But if
sure.
somebody is really doing that, like we can't maybe give you a lot of money, but I can my girlfriend and I can make you a home cooked meal, and you can sit
Yes.
down in a warm house and you can have a shower, and we've
Yes.
got clothes or that kind of thing is if it's possible to do, you know, um little things like that. If you can't afford it, there's always some kind of way that
There's
you can
always.
reach out, I
There's
think.
always some kind of way. And then I've seen some at the gas station where it's like, someone will ask, can I have $2? Can I have $1? And someone will say no. And then the
Hmm.
person who says yes, they get like $10,000, and I've seen a couple where the
Right.
person's like, oh, I can give you the money now. It's like, you had your opportunity, you had your
Right.
opportunity. There was always a saying in my house, and probably just in general, like,
Hmm.
you never, I think it comes from the Bible. You never know who you're entertaining because you could be in the presence of angels. You know what I mean? You never know, Yeah.
Right. I always bring up two songs. One of them is What If God Was One of Us, right? This is Joan
Yes.
Osborne. And there's
Woo.
another one called What If Jesus Came Back Like That? And I believe, I'm trying to remember now if I believe that might have been Clay Walker, but I'm not 100% sure. But
Yeah.
it's almost like if the person,
Uh,
if you're walking down the street or you're
yeah.
driving and you see somebody and you make a judgment, what
You
if
make an
that person
immediate
that
judgment.
right, what if that person you're seeing was placed there to make you, to bring you a reckoning of your own? What if you're being judged by how you treat someone else?
And we usually are. We typically are
You
being
know?
judged by how we treat someone else. It's just a reality. And we never know. We judge someone if they look dirty or dingy and homeless,
Right,
and we cross the other side. And of course, yes, we can practice safety, but my goodness, we all need help. We
right,
all need assistance. So yeah, whatever
right.
we can do to be the light, it always turns back to that. If we can give
And
someone $1, $2, and I think we even have our own ways to do that. We have our
right,
own spaces and places on this very platform to do that. So that's what I'm always thinking. How can we assist not just someone who's worse off than us, but just in
right.
general, how can we assist?
Or just like how can we reach out and make sure that other people are just, they feel seen or they feel
Yeah,
understood, or
yeah,
that's definitely something we can do if nothing else. And I think that does a
absolutely.
lot and it goes a long way.
It does.
What I'm gonna do is bring this up since we're talking about Be the Light. Um,
Yeah,
let's talk about Uganda for a minute. We've got
yeah,
a quick video for that.
absolutely.
Here at Rhode Island Broadcasting and Going On Daily, we're proud to announce that we are collecting donations for our Uganda Fund. My name is Becky, and I've been one of the hosts here at Going On Daily since day one. And earlier this year, I was blessed with the opportunity to travel to Uganda, and it was honestly one of the most life-changing experiences. I met people who completely changed the way I see the world. I met families who had endured unimaginable tragedies, including these two families who lost young children to a witch doctor. I met children who hadn't eaten in days. We even saw 11 children share a single apple because it's all we had left to give them. I met children who fled war in neighboring countries only to find themselves homeless and living on the streets. I saw heartbreak, poverty, and desperation. But what I also saw was joy, the happiness that a single piece of candy, a bracelet, or a small act of kindness could bring was enough to bring tears to my eyes. These are people who have so little, and yet they have more gratitude and joy than many of us could even imagine. We know that there are people who need help in our own communities, and we continue to support local initiatives whenever we can. But this year, our hearts are with Uganda. In partnership with Love Made a Way,
100% of every donation will go directly to initiatives in Uganda. No hidden fees, no deductions. Every dollar goes to help providing food, clean water, education, medical care, safe buildings, sanitation improvements, schools, vocational training, and hope. $1 is worth roughly 3,700 Ugandan shillings, so even a small donation can make a meaningful impact. Maybe it's giving up your Starbucks or your Timmy's today. Whatever you feel led to give, please know that it will help change lives. Thank you for your support, your generosity, and for helping us bring hope to the people of Uganda. Visit www.rhodeislandbroadcasting.net/Uganda-donations to help out.
Yeah, and that was our lovely Becky. And right, there's a situation where Becky was in a place where she changed the way she thought about things. You know what I mean?
She changed the way.
Right.
It's important, and it's like she was able to be the light in that situation.
Exactly.
I know in Cuban sense they wish they could do more and things but it's like if you just do something small, and if we're talking about currency and how that money exchanges, $1 means so much. $1 is nothing to us now. It's just like, okay, whatever. We have a dollar in our couch, in our car,
you got it. I was about to say that. Get your couch cushions, man, people. Find that 75 cents or whatever it is that you got, pass it on.
And pass it on. That's it.
Definitely. I'm going to say hi to my sister. She thinks I'm beautiful, but she has to, because by law, if you're family, you have to.
You are beautiful. You are beautiful.
Okay. Not as far as I'm concerned, but yes. But yeah. So yeah, she's always giving me the props, my sister. So where I'm going to ask you where you can be found. I see your Facebook there.
Yeah. Yes. So
we can find you,
Lilac Calandra everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Lilac Calandra. Yeah, everywhere. And I'd love to connect with you, love to talk with you. I'm always trying to share something inspirational or thought-provoking, something that helps us to pause and to breathe and just to take a moment, because we're always moving so fast and we forget to do that. So I'd love to connect with you. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. I am this is my TikTok, which incidentally I hardly ever use. It is there, but I really need to get on it a whole lot more.
Yeah.
So every time I see it, I'm like, man, I gotta take time and like really get in there and put some stuff up there.
Yes.
Also, DJ Lana, DJLANA at Facebook. It's pretty much going to be my DJ page if you have a chance to check that out. And then DJ Lana Williams on Facebook, as well as my personal page, which you probably are already watching I do stream to that. And then Lana Williams 8668 on YouTube is also a place to find me. If you're in the local Rhode Island area, you may or may not see me at some events this summer DJing or whatever. But I also have we also have an actual page, which you guys saw, that I sent you, but we actually have our page up for a podcast that is done at this point. There is one teeny tiny thing that has to be changed, but the entire thing is in the can and produced.
Awesome.
And I'm just waiting for the okay to throw it up there. But it's called Life's Melody Pod. So it's Life's LIFES Melody and then POD, and that's at YouTube. So go there, subscribe, do everything you got to do there just so that you're ready. So when we put this first episode up, you'll finally see it. Because I swear we're not lying. We actually did do a podcast. Nobody believes us.
No, we saw the evidence. We can attest. We saw the evidence. We know
we're
it's
just
a real
talking
thing.
about it, and we're like, how many people don't really think we're doing this? You're like, but we both come from New England Tech, which is a very it's a very technical school in this area.
Yeah.
And he's in audio video, so he's extremely I don't like this one tiny little thing. I don't like this. So we're very, very detailed about editing, and making sure we just don't want to deal with we want all the hard stuff out of the way.
Yeah, out of the way.
We would much rather go back to the drawing board and get it right than just throw it up. You know what I mean? And that's why it hasn't been up. It's taken us 6 months to do, but now all the fun stuff is all we have left. Just like the topics and talking everything else is done. So anyway, check us out there.
I wish more people would do that, would take the time to really, make sure
Right.
everything's looking good, sounding good. There's nothing wrong with that. So
Exactly.
that's perfect.
And so it's funny as the two of us are, and he's worse than me. So when he goes back and looks at the whole thing, he goes, "All right, I watched it on a TV, and I watched it on a big TV, so I could see what it looks like there. And then
Yeah.
I watched it on my phone, so I could see what it looks like there. And then I watched it on my laptop, so I could see what it looks like there. And then I listened to it somewhere else,
Yes.
so I could tell when somebody's listening to the audio, but they're not watching the video, so I could see what that sounds like.
That's a
And it sounds
professional.
crazy, but
That's a professional. That's a
if he
professional.
didn't like the way something sounded or whatever, then we know, because exactly. We've got
About
the
time.
transcripts in and all that. But yeah, it is about time. I know.
About
but
time.
now that it's up, we'll be putting one up every month and seeing how
For
it goes.
sure.
So it's very
Awesome.
sorry for the delay, folks, but we're perfectionists, and perfectionists never get anything done. That's all I can
That's
say
right. That's
about
right.
that. So yeah. Anyway, that's where all you can find us. And he just put that in the comments, right? So it's not up yet. I'm waiting. I'm now waiting. I asked
Still
for
waiting.
one. I'm a kind of a proofreader, so he put some text up and there was a comma in the wrong place, and I was just like, nope, that's comma's
Can't
gonna
do it.
go. So it's the silliest
Listen.
thing ever, but once that comma's in the right place, the whole thing will be done. And as soon as I get
Perfect. It'll be
word,
perfect.
it'll go
It'll be
up.
perfect.
But yeah, so I'm just gonna really quickly go through some of the stuff. There are some generations and generations of musicians that are out there, and so I wanted to bring up some father and children
Oh,
legacies that
love that.
you might or might not. And it's a music week we're doing.
Yes.
So musical legacies across generations, they often run in families, whether through mentorship, collaboration, or shared passion. Many artists have followed in their parents' footsteps while developing their own unique voices, right? So these father and child musicians span centuries, genres, and cultures, right? Providing that musical talent can be both inherited and reinvented. Let's start off with Abraham Quintanilla Jr. and Selena. And we just lost Abraham not long ago.
Oh,
And
really?
it's I thought I don't know. I thought if you ever get a chance to see the documentary that they just put out about her, and it was all about his life, and then up until obviously her passing, but it just showed like the family dynamic that they had. And in my opinion, Abraham was just one hell of it. I just loved him as a father. I don't know why. There was something about.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, he, when she got together with Chris, he didn't like it, but eventually he said, "You know what? You're gonna just be part of my family." So there's
Yes,
no,
absolutely.
obviously the band stays together and we all continue to work, but he also, understood she was happy with him and she wanted to be with him, and instead of being the typical father and just like throwing everything away, he
Yep.
realized
Yep.
his mistake. And
He did.
I don't know. I just like that as an example for a dad, right? So he started out with a band called Los Dinos, right? That's basically his band as a young 20-something-year-old, right? So he started with that. But yeah, I can't remember. I know that they had some issues trying to sing. I think that there were people in his day and age that did not understand that they were Latino. Some of that was happening. So they didn't have a really great career. But what he did was when his kids were born, he started to throw them into musicianship at very young ages. And they bought a restaurant and put their kids in it. And that's kind of like how it started. But they stayed as a family for years and years. And I think that's just a really cool, you don't see that a lot with musicians. And he was really the kind of the rock behind, or the solid, foundation behind that band. And there were times where Selena was asked, "Do you want to be solo?" And she was like, "No way. Like I would never do this without my family." My family it was just very important to her, and I thought that was great. The next one I'm going to bring up, you may or may not know, but I think you're probably going to love, and that would be Robot Pop's Staples, and the Staple Singers. Right? And Mavis Staples. I just love the Staple Singers. So if you ever get a chance to listen to Staple Singers, if you haven't heard I'll Take You There, I mean, that's one of the bigger songs they've ever done. But they really are a whole family. They were a whole family, that were amazing musicians. Amazing. And so, he put all his kids together and they did a whole thing, and they were very gospel, soul. They had like a very socially conscious type of music. And so they were kind of around when, like, I would say that during the late 60s and early 70s, when the civil rights movement was kind of at its peak.
Yes.
They were at a lot of outside shows and concerts and stuff like that. You can see a lot of outdoor festivals in the 70s that they were at, and they would I just love them. They're just amazing sounding. Mavis is still alive, and she's still out there touring.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Absolutely. She's just, I follow her on Instagram and everything. She's just, I can't, when she sings, I just can't even believe it. I love her so much.
Yeah, her voice is legendary.
It's just, she sounds like nobody else, you know what I mean? So just wanted to bring that up because that was a father and child, thing.
Okay.
I would say DeBarge, but DeBarge didn't have a father. They didn't have their father in the band, and he may have been a musician. He really was mostly a military guy, and so it mostly was the brothers and sisters. Although they did come out of church and all that. I got to bring up Nat King Cole and Natalie Cole, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Can't forget them. A few musical legacies are as celebrated as that of those two. And he became one of the most beloved singers of the 20th century, right? Known for classics such as Unforgettable and Mona Lisa. And he just I have this Christmas album that, like, if it's Christmas, Nat King Cole is on. Don't talk to me about that. I cannot have a Christmas without Nat King Cole.
Absolutely.
It's just, his whole Christmas album is just unbelievable to me. And so and she built a successful career of her own, right? She was definitely, a Nepo baby, but she made her own way. She had multiple Grammy Awards that she won. And, of course, we spoke earlier about her tribute, right? To her dad. And so, that's just somebody we've got to talk about. And then we've got J.S. Bach and C.P.E. Bach. Now, this is going to be, if you're in any way interested in classical music, or you've got Johann Sebastian Bach. Extended directly to his son Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, right? So these are both classical trained musicians. Bach perfected the Baroque style. C.P.E. Bach embraced a more emotional and experimental approach that helped the classical era, right? Interestingly, the younger Bach was actually more famous during his lifetime, and he earned praise from Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, which is a big deal at that time. So we've got to bring that up. So now the next ones I'm going to bring up are going to be, you may have heard of them, you may have not. You learn something new, you'll have to go research it. Ravi Shankar and Anushka Shankar. Indians, he's a sitar master. Now, Ravi Shankar did a lot of work. If you've ever, I think the Beatles is really the place. I think, I believe that they did a lot of work with him at one point, and he's on some of their stuff. He may or may not have done work with. I'm trying to remember, but I know he did a lot of. He was kind of somebody that everybody was interested in the 60s for the sitar and that kind of thing. A lot of Hinduistani classical music. And his daughter, she began studying under him as a child and grew into an internationally respected musician. And together they represent a successful passing of artistic tradition from one generation to the next. And then we're going to talk about Placido Domingo Ferrer and Placido Domingo. This is father and son. Placido would be the second. And Spanish baritone Placido Domingo. He specialized in a zarzuela, a form of Spanish musical theater. And his son, Placido Domingo the second, began performing in his parents' troupe before becoming one of the world's most renowned opera stars. So this is opera. And their careers intersected memorably when Domingo conducted a production that marked his father's final stage appearance, right? So if you're into theater, you'll know Placido Domingo.
Okay.
I think I don't think we talked about it earlier. Bob Dylan and Jacob Dylan.
No, we didn't talk about it earlier.
Okay. So Bob Dylan, everybody knows. But if you get a chance to look into it, his son Jacob was in the band The Wallflowers, and this would have been in the 90s. So that's definitely a father-son. Despite constant comparisons, they're not really exactly the same. They don't really do the same kind of music. Jacob kind of has a distinctive musical identity. He and his father are very close, but they don't sound a lot alike. But yeah. And I agree. I think Jacob has a much better voice than Bob, but I don't think Bob was a singer. Bob was a writer.
Oh, okay.
You know,
He
Bob was
turned
primarily a
to, yeah.
songwriter. He did a lot of music
Mhm.
for a lot of people. He did eventually start singing his own music, but I don't think singing was really his top talent. It was really writing. So, but he was an activist in the 60s, and hey, you got to love that, right?
Gotta love it.
So Billy Ray Cyrus and Miley Cyrus, I've already brought up before. Country singer Billy Ray Cyrus gained his fame from Achy Breaky Heart. Right? Exactly. And his daughter Miley, she became a global superstar with starting out with Hannah Montana as a
Yes.
younger kid, right? So they have a good bond now, but they've been back and forth. They've been rocky.
It has been rocky.
You know, we've heard, you know, stuff about him and how he can be whatever. So they both of them have had their disputes. But she actually went really far beyond that. She built one hell of a career. I gotta say, she built a pretty good career for herself beyond Disney, you know. So
yeah.
And then Olu Dara and Nas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Olu Dara and his son Nas, they demonstrate how musical talent can thrive across genres, right? Dara's roots are in jazz and blues. And Nas became one of hip hop's most acclaimed lyricists. If you're into hip hop and you don't know who Nas is, I don't know what to tell you. Just turn it in, hang it up. Their collaborations brought together two musical worlds, highlighting the creative power of family connections. Right. We've got to talk about Berry Gordy and Redfoo. Founder of Motown Records, Berry Gordy, he helped launch the careers of a lot of music's greatest stars. Now, he was not a musician, but Berry Gordy's enough of a mention from the musicians that he put out on the market.
For sure.
You know, so I don't know that there's anything he's ever sang or done, but he's probably responsible for a lot of careers in the 60s with Motown Records. So his son, Redfoo, pursued a different sound, like as part of LMFAO. Now, do you remember that group?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, achieving worldwide success with energetic dance pop hits. Together, they reflect the changing face of popular music across generations. I don't know. Yeah, I do believe. I just read an article about them just because they were such a flash in the pan, LMFAO at one point. But there was a big blow up of how great they were in the 2010s, and yeah. John Williams and Joseph Williams, I've mentioned, I think I had a podcast where I did a whole thing on John Williams, and he's a film composer. So he's going to be behind stuff like Star Wars, E.T., Indiana Jones, right? His son Joseph found success as a lead vocalist of Toto. I don't know if you knew that.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, so their collaboration on Return of the Jedi connected the worlds of film music and rock, right? So, and Toto was one of my favorite bands. So from classical, and I didn't get into Sinatra's. I didn't get into the Sinatras. I don't know why. It just didn't show up on my list. So we could definitely talk about the Sinatras, but what I don't want to do is go over, so I'll have to talk about that in the comments.
Yes.
But yeah, from classical Europe to modern pop, these families show that musical legacies are about more than shared DNA, right? And each child inherited inspiration, guidance, opportunity from a parent, yet they succeeded by developing a distinct artistic voice of their own, right? So their stories remind us that while music can be passed down through generations, greatness is ultimately shaped by creativity, dedication, and individuality, right? So there you go. Famous,
you learn something new every day.
Musicians, yeah,
that's pretty awesome. I'm most interested about the Staples. I knew about the Staples. I just didn't know that they came from, a dad who was in the music business. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was in that band for I don't know how long. So yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, if you get a chance to look into the Staples singers, they're the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it. I mean, we're pretty much hopefully we gave you some kind of inspiration or information or something that you can use for today. So tomorrow on our Sunday show, this will be Kenny and Ron as usual doing their thing. If you're fans of Kenny and Ron, you know how it is. You got to get here, at 10 in the morning and at Eastern time, sit down, get your coffee and watch those two have fun, right?
Watch those two have fun. And Kenny with his disappointing claps. I mean, it's my favorite thing to watch on a Sunday. I love it so much. So tune in. It's going to be awesome.
I'm telling you. I'm sure that Ron will just upset Kenny somehow, some way.
Of course.
Does,
Yeah.
But But yeah, so hopefully we will see you tomorrow, or whenever the next time you listen to our show is, because you are also listening to us. Got to thank WDJY, got to thank Mace Fitness and Soul Spectives Institute, and we'll see you guys. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
Bye, Lele.